All right, everyone. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of...
That's that.
And that's that.
Okay, we made it to Episode 3. How are you guys feeling today?
I had a little nap earlier.
Yeah?
Feeling better.
Alive and well.
Alive and well? Okay, here we are. We made it. No more drum set here. We returned that thing.
Had to give it back
Had
to
to give
Robbie.
it back. It was a good run on that drum kit. We recorded a bunch of albums on that kit. Shout outs to Robbie Waldman of Waxy for lending us his drum kit for like 2.5 years. 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
2 years. But now we get all this space for the podcast.
Nice.
So here we go. Okay. So I know there's a lot of new followers over the last little bit. We've had a lot of new followers to the Dreamboats page, but I don't know if they know the true tale of the Dreamboats. I mean, we've been around since 2009, believe it or not, but only recently did we move the band from Canada to California. And I think there's a really cool story there that we should tell about that. Richie, what drove us to California? I mean, the three of us made the move.
Well, technically, it was his car and my car.
Yes.
That made the move
My
to California.
rickety car at the time.
Richie, maybe you could tell the people at home, the new people, why did we move the band from Mississauga, Canada to Palm Springs, California? Why did that happen?
Greener pastures. Yes.
Less green.
We're in the desert.
Sand.
Sandy pastures.
Sandy pastures. But why did we do it? Remind me.
Well, during that, that time of COVID, it was just kind of like a morale killer. And we were just doing our best to kind of hold things together by not being able to perform. And it's kind of weird being in a band and your whole objective is to get people into crowds, but the rest of the world was just saying, do not put a crowd together. And then we ended up doing that show here in California in November of 2021, and we just kind of saw that it was like a whole different thing going on here in California than it was in Canada.
Everything was open down here, and in Canada was closed.
Canada was just like always, like everything was closed, opening, closing, opening, closing.
What show was that? That was before?
That was before you. That was
right.
Nick
was Adam and Nick. Okay,
yeah.
Nick and Adam.
And we played at Oscars. We also played at at the O'Donnell, and there's a couple key people that really kind of gave us the confidence to think that this was the spot to come and make it happen. Shout out to Cece and Barb.
Well, I mean, even since 2017, when we came down for it was our first gig in the United States. It was Modernism Week 2017. And our mentor and big supporter, Mike Heatherman, he told us since day one, he was like, cancel your flight back. This was in 2017.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats, no pun intended, and stay in California. And it only took us till 2022 to make that happen.
It was kind of, it was very clearly outlined to be like a no-brainer. If we wanted to perform and play live and do the things that we wanted to do, that this was the decision to make. And then after playing that, it took like a month, and it really just built our confidence. We just made this kind of decision to just go. We booked 4 gigs.
We came down here with 4
gigs in January 2022. And we just made it happen, kind of thing. Yeah,
we got lucky there. And for those of you who don't know, Justin actually made the move with us. Justin, like, you hadn't even really played with us before, and then you're kind of jumping into this big move to California from Mississauga, Canada. I mean, what do you think it is about California that makes it why should the Dreamboats be in California?
I want to say one thing before that too, is that, and Justin was even mentioned that he hasn't even performed in like 4 years prior to even coming. So even to make that jump, you know what I mean? It was just big. That's big moves for Justin there too.
Why should the Dreamboats be in California at this point?
At this point, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the desert at this point for the band, and we're moving out to other parts. Like over the summer, playing so many shows around Southern California, doing all the what was it? The summer city shows.
Yeah.
We're expanding to a lot of new territories, so it's starting to make sense. We're building a network that shows are repeating the following year. So,
do you think it was the right move for this band to come to California and make the move and dive right into California?
Yeah, I've always been supportive of that. No matter what band it is, I think you should be down here because the opportunity there's just so much more opportunity.
I remember we used to talk. Remember when you were still doing your thing, and even us when you were just like, not that wasn't even a thought in Justin's mind of being in the band. And we used to talk about, we're going to California, and now we're like,
or it's pretty much like only time we would talk for a little while, for a couple of years. I'd be down here. I'd be like, "Hey, are you guys down here? When are you gonna be here?" You guys like, "Oh no, we're not here." And then you'd be down here. You'd be like, "Hey man, are you here?" And I'm like, "No, I'm back home." It's like, I'll see you when you're down there.
I'll see you when you join the band. Yeah.
Crazy.
But, yeah, I think it's been a good move down here. And I mean, Richie, like being, we are the founding members. Justin has joined us for this ambitious endeavor down here in California. But Richie specifically, and Justin, you've seen us in the early days with the old lineup. I mean, what has changed with this band after moving to California? I mean, I personally think that the show has grown so much since moving to California. It's a different show now that we're down here. How has California shaped us? Have we just been weathered being down here?
There's a little bit of that. I think it's just growing quicker. First of all, the band's all in one house, so they're just around each other all the time. But I don't know. Lost my train of thought on that.
That's a story of our life down here. Richie, what do you think? Like, how has the show changed since moving down here?
I think it's forced us to really focus. I feel like for like the first bunch of years with the older lineup that we had, we were cruising. We were getting good gigs. We were getting decent private gigs, playing some good shows and whatnot. And I just felt like we were just kind of cruising and never really thought about what to really do to up the level of this of the stage show, which is kind of weird because when you get comfortable, you stop kind of thinking about how you can really improve. And when you're kind of put in like a situation where this is your lifeline, this is our lifeline, we're here like foreign dudes out here in like America, in like
immigrants,
the biggest entertainment capital, and you got to ask yourself, like, what are you gonna do to like stand out? And like and these are things that I think about, and I think about the progression that we've had over the past 2.5 to 3 years compared to like what we tried to accomplish over in Canada during the time.
Yeah, there's a lot more pressure to make things happen here.
Oh yeah, big
because
time.
there's a lot of cost to stay here and make it work. Whereas back home, there's a bit of a cushion to maybe take some time off or not feel the pressure to make things happen as quickly. Whereas like here, it's happening.
It's your comfort zone back home.
Yeah.
It's your comfort zone, and these limbs ain't getting any more limber.
It's more of an uncomfort zone.
Yeah, this is
that we're
this
living.
is
well,
this
it
is
is.
Yeah,
In some ways,
we're throwing
in a lot of
we're throwing
ways.
the deep. Like this is like a business. It's a viable business here.
Yeah.
And you have to make it work,
I know, coming down here, it's like, we had gone from pre-COVID, we were doing like big theaters. We came off a big East Coast Canada tour playing to, 500 seat theaters. And then COVID happened. And then we make this move down here and we were literally like busking.
People pouring buckets of water on our head.
First night, busking. We had the water poured on top of or attempted to pour on top of our head.
Attempted.
We went from having water poured on our heads to now, we're living out here and we're making a good living and things are coming together. But it's crazy to think, like, when we came down here, I felt like when we first moved down here for that first year, everything was like a nightmare. There was, as we called it, the nightmare of the day. Something happened like every single day. If it wasn't luggage flying out the thing, if it wasn't locking the keys.
That's a memorable one for sure.
Locking the keys in the trailer, or some immigration things, or not getting the visa, biting your nails on that thing. And, where are we getting money to pay this rent for next month? And, it's like when you're new to a country and you don't have the roots here, you're very vulnerable. And it's even still 3 years in, we're finally kind of feeling a little more comfortable, but it's tough moving to a new country.
Nowhere exactly where final destination for us. It is definitely the journey is still there, but you're absolutely right. Like I also, any business starting off in any new place, do not expect to be making some big surplus of money, within the first year of like starting something somewhere. Like you're just.
But I think we did think that. I think in the back of my mind, I did think it would have taken a little quicker.
I never thought that. Like we had a little bit of reserve, but I never thought that we were just going to go and take over like the entertainment capital of the world in a year or something. Like there was a big confidence with the foundation that we had here in Palm Springs, but that's different. Palm Springs is is a small pond compared to the rest of like the LA area.
Sure.
In my opinion. You know?
Well, I think what was really cool, I don't even know if a lot of people know this who are just following us, but we actually documented that whole move from Mississauga, Toronto, Canada, all the way down here. I mean, we documented the first 3 months ourselves, and then we got Eric, our videographer, also the hometown guy. Shout outs to Eric Soto behind the decks. And we did two seasons of Keep It Dreamy. So if you haven't checked that out and you want to know the story of our move down here, check out Keep It Dreamy on YouTube. I mean, we kind of covered a lot of those initial feelings. Have you guys watched Keep It Dreamy?
I got to go back still. I haven't watched it since.
Have you watched that first season? There's a lot in there that I forgot about, and I remember those tough times.
Those are crazy times, man. Yeah.
I
A
guess
lot of things. Even like I remember going through my health issues at the time.
you
and
lost
stuff.
a lot of weight.
I lost a lot of weight, and it was just a lifestyle change from that moment on, compounding on top of like just anxiety, missing what you're so used to back home, being
Sure.
kind of lightly isolated over in Joshua Tree too. Like we had that house on the hill, and like it's not like we had this big social network.
No, we had a man in a tent. And
yeah,
we had
the man in the tent.
We had another man.
It wasn't ours, but there was a man.
Yeah,
in
there was a
tent.
man.
a man in a tent who may or may not have been entering our house when we
Yeah.
were gone. We don't know.
He
But
may
was
not
some-
have been walking on our roof at times.
There was frozen chicken nuggets missing at some point. We don't know where they
There
went.
was
but
missing food, I think.
He
Sometimes
might have been frogging.
He might have been doing something.
But when I think of those, when I think of the old dreamboats, to sum this up, when I think of the old dreamboats, I see a certain show, and now when I cut to what we have now, we're such a more well-oiled machine. I used to think that was the case back in the day, but it's like right now, even Eric, we're setting up for gigs. We got a full timeline of when we got to leave, and we're getting to gigs early. I have never been in a band that's showing up to gigs early. We're getting to relax. We're packing our own lunches. We're just really very efficient, and it's like what you said, Richie. It's like you're down here, this is the main focus, and you can really hone in and just get in, optimize everything you do down here. And I think that's been a blessing. It's been tough for these almost 3 years, but I'm really fortunate that we've come into some really cool routines as well. I think even health-wise, we're working out, we're getting in shape. It's just when you see the priority of why we're down here and what we're trying to accomplish with this band alone. I mean, have you felt you've grown? Have you guys felt you've grown down here? We'll start with Richie. Have you grown?
Definitely grown in so many ways, I guess. Health-wise, definitely, the thoughts of trying to really up the stage show and use as an excuse to be the best version of your physical self, you know what I mean? And it's helped. Yeah.
What's the difference between pre-California Richie Hummins and current California Richie Hummins? Describe the two characters.
2 Tim Hortons coffees every day, at least 1 McDonald's McDouble meal a day.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Couple shawarmas?
Every day.
Every day.
Day.
Not even
You
lying.
could have made a documentary.
I could have been that dude. What is it called again? Super Size Me?
Yeah.
That could have been me.
Yeah.
What else? Just, I don't know. I think just working as a team is a different thing as well. Like the business itself, like really filling that calendar is one thing I've always kind of tried to do and focus on. It's been a team effort, a combined effort from everyone. But like at the same time, I feel like that's been always like a focus. And at the end of the day, that's, just keeping a roof over your head. I never had those kind of pressures. I felt like everything was just kind of gradual when it came to employment, whether it was like I was teaching or like just getting gigs or working at like, the bar circuit and stuff back home. And then that would lead to like private parties from people that see you at these venues. And it was just kind of like easy. Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm take that. And, you're swatting away gigs. You can be very selective. And then to the point where like you come here and you're starting from like the absolute ground up. You could be like the sickest band in the world. And like, if no one knows you, and they're going to lowball the crap out.
You have no leverage.
You have no leverage whatsoever.
Leverage.
You don't have a fan base. You have no leverage. And it took a minute to really focus on it. And from there, I think about the progression that it took in 3 years or 2.5 years back in Canada, in comparison to what it took for us over here in like this, a market that I'm going to say saturated per se, but there's a lot of competition out here. Bands. And I think that was like my growth in there is really trying to like, but that growth also comes with like anxiety and stress. And if you're stressing and have anxiety, I'd like to think that's like a growth process.
Sure.
Sit in that zone. Is that the neighbor's dog?
Nope, that's Loretta.
Loretta!
which is good.
So Richie, I think you went from, you're just so in shape, you're healthy right now, and I think California is really, when you're here and focused on one goal, you try to optimize that in every way possible. Justin, how do you feel you've kind of grown? What was like pre-California Justin like, and now currently? A lot less stressed or what?
Yeah, not really. The stress just continues. It just changes its form all the time. I don't know. It's always been like, the last number of years have just been a balance of trying to figure out how can I, because I really enjoy doing music production, writing, being in the studio, but I also really enjoy performing. So I'm trying to find a way to have both those things in my life, as well as relationship, dogs, my girlfriend has kids. There's a lot going on trying to mix it all together. So that stuff I still feel like I'm figuring out, but I think one of the coolest things has been the live shows and just getting to experiment, like just because the sets are very similar. It's a lot of the, same songs. We sprinkle in some new ones every now and then, but especially this summer and whenever we're playing for long periods of time, you get to really experiment and try new things out. And there's a new comfort level being on stage and just doing something that might seem crazy. It's like you don't even think about it anymore at this point. And I think that's one of the big things, where the years before that, in the bands that I was in, I felt like I kind of got like stagnant with my live performances. Whereas when I was younger, I felt like everything was over the top. And then as I moved away from being a front man and playing, whether it's lead guitar or bass or drums or whatever it was for different bands, it always just felt like I'm on the side. Like, I'm like, what? I didn't really feel like I was getting to do the stuff that used to be fun for me, which a lot of that is crowd interaction. And that's a lot of it, going crazy on stage and getting the crowd involved. And not to say like
you're so good at that stuff.
Sing,
too, man.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that. It's not like I sing a lot in this band, but there's opportunities where there's moments where during the live show, because they're pretty long sets as well, you'll kind of be talking, or I'll look at Johnny and be like, just give me a minute. I'll do one of these, like, give me a minute. It's like, I've got an idea. I'm going to try something here with the crowd. And usually whenever that comes up, it turns into something that's repetitive throughout the show moving forward.
Sure.
So I'd like to even get more of that stuff, but it's kind of, as it feels natural, which is, more and more as time goes on.
And I understand how sometimes when the people come into certain bands, they don't want to feel like you're stepping on toes. I hope you never, ever got the feeling that you were ever stepping on anyone's toes.
Well, it's hard to say, because I'm like, I've joined so many bands over the years, and it's like I figured out how to join bands where it's like you got to get invested, but at the same time, you got to kind of do it at a certain pace, because if you come in too strong, that's a weird thing as well, where it's like, this guy's really comfortable. It's like a little too comfortable over here. So it's like there's a give and take when it comes to that kind of thing. And
well, I mean, I remember when you first joined this band, you first came down here, I was like, there's no way Justin Zoltek is going to be doing dance moves. And then I thought
that too.
And then it's like, cut to now, you're just doing everything. You're like hopping all over the place, kicking things and doing all the dance moves.
He's definitely kicking things. I know that.
I broke your cymbal at the last show.
I know. What else is new? But it's just like the dance moves have never been better. And I remember like we used to be at the house in Joshua Tree when we first moved down here, the two of you guys like practicing the moves. And we're like, I'm sitting in the back there. I'm just kind of excellent. He's learning. You know what I mean? Because I didn't think it was gonna happen. And then
scheming.
Cut to now. You guys are doing like epic dance moves. You guys are doing like cabaret, like Moulin Rouge. Like
that new one's pretty ridiculous.
High kicks.
I like that one. I'm like, this is so friggin' ridiculous.
It literally went from you being like, I'm not dancing, to like, like all cabaret.
Yeah, it's whatever's most ridiculous. It's like, hey, let's do that.
So I think you've grown in that way. And in regards to myself, I mean, even before here, I remember when we first moved down here, I used to think I was in shape. I remember we had that video. We used to go for those runs in the desert. And I remember taking off the shirt and like feeling good. And it wasn't until I hit that kind of rock bottom there where just everything got to me, where you kind of got me on the fitness thing. And shout outs to Wilson Wellness for getting us all on the fitness journey. But I think that was the biggest thing that changed for me, was that, I was eating poorly. We're down here, and that your health really plays and takes a toll on your you don't realize that it's a mental toll. And when you start getting in shape, eating well, you think a little more clearly, you start just seeing your flaws, you're a little more self-aware. And that's like something I'm so blessed that everything that's happened so far in moving down here, all the stress has just really caused me to rise to a certain occasion. And I feel like just my personal skills and my life skills have improved so much from all those nightmares.
Sure, some problem-solving skills.
And I think everyone has too.
Yeah.
Everyone's grown so much, and I don't know if we.
Well, we need the whiz on his game, or else his whole operation falls apart.
Keep it together, Johnny.
Keep it together, Johnny.
Do whatever you got to do to just keep yourself in check.
Johnny's not on his game. We're screwed.
We'll start falling off the bus.
Oh my
the
God.
bus, man.
Okay.
I have a love in my life. It makes me stronger than anything you can imagine. I would say that's that, Mattress Man.
Richie, I know this summer you were doing the blading, you were doing a bunch of ambitious things, as were you, Justin. But this summer, Richie, I felt like you were really climbing things, and I want you to just take us through that journey. Why did you start climbing things? Why did you start climbing things this summer?
There was a weird thing. Like, I don't know. I like doing some of those acrobatic little weird things. You know what I mean? I like my chin up or like human flag calisthenic games. It's something that I've just kind of had since I was in high school and in my early 20s. And as long as I kind of maintained somewhat of like a certain body weight and shape, I could pull it off. I hold that strength, I guess. But I just thought, I gotta do something here that's different. Like I'm gonna take it back to what Luther Mallory was saying. Shouts to Luther Mallory. Is that he said something like that subconscious kind of being aware of when you're on stage. It's like, when you do something new and like you kind of feel like, oh my God, is this gonna bomb or is this gonna be like something? It's like that feeling of anxiety and like getting out of your comfort zone. I remember him telling me one time, like back in the early days when I was with like the Morning Thieves and stuff, and we were doing like stage coaching kind of thing. He was like, okay, you've been on stage 1,000,000 times. Okay. Gotcha. Like you're saying, even that feeling of like redundant, you know what I mean? Like you've been on stage 1,000,000 times. He's like, I would not get on stage anymore and not like I'm not going to do anything. Like I always got to make sure that I always have that feeling of like something weird is going to happen, or like that feeling of like,
don't get complacent.
Don't get complacent, and like just like you gotta always kind of induce that feeling of doing something different or whatever it is, and like that stuck with me. And I'm not gonna act like I'm always on that tip every single time. Sometimes there's some shows, you know what I'm talking about.
Sure, you go through the motions sometimes.
You get that. You go to the joke, But there's sometimes where like if the audience is truly like into it the way I want them to be into it, and they're feeling, it's like this like full circle thing, and like and I feel like it pulls that ideas of you to do things that you would normally do.
But it's not always on the audience, because sometimes the audience is not into it, and that's a time when we're just like, here, let's get something going here.
And
that can
right.
inspire situations, because you're like, how do we make this fun
and
here? Because this is
right.
like, it feels like we're just getting through this thing.
The one gig I can say is, and it was an awesome crowd. Like it was a monster crowd, but they weren't in front of us, like engaged. Remember at Riverside? And so, and that was where we did that. We did that. We did the videos of and that gig in particular, for whatever reason on that gig, I kind of lightly snapped a little bit, where I was just like, all right, I'm going to throw the skates on. I'm going to jump over this big ass speaker. I was telling Justin, I'm like, Justin, clear some space for me. I had the blades at the side, did that. Right. That was the first time I threw on skates.
Yeah.
And then that was also the first time
you climbed.
The first time I climbed the rafter.
Yeah.
So like that gig to me was like one where I was just like, okay, I'm like going for it, and it wasn't because I was feeding off the audience.
No,
it was because I thought it was the lack
opposite.
of it. It was the opposite.
Yeah.
So there is that as well. Yeah.
What goes through your mind when you're? Because I know you. It's like I don't even know you're going to be climbing these things. Sometimes I'll see you put down your guitar and you kind of just rub your hands and look at this thing.
Don't die.
And like
you get some chalk going. By the way,
I gotta get the chalk, man. I get sweaty.
But it's just like, what goes through your mind? What is there? Adrenaline? Are you feeding off? What is going through your mind when you're about to climb up that thing? Like some of these, you did it the other day. We were West Covina, and you tried to do the flagpole, but you didn't. But at the same time, you're just up really high. What are you feeling like? Are you like on top of the world when that's going down? What is going through your mind? Explain.
It's nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie, but like I said, it's like it's trying to live in that like that uncomfortable zone sometimes, and like.
But are you uncomfortable? I feel like you look so comfortable when you do these things. Are you?
Yes and no. I'm not gonna lie, like my hands still get sweaty. I still get kind of nervous. Like there is that thought of, am I gonna like, what if I slip and like
That's why you
die?
need that chalk. Like I look at you going to do it, and I know how sweaty we get, you in particular, and I'm like, if you're gonna be doing this, you gotta. What safety measures can you include? Which is like, you gotta dry your hands before you get up there.
Let's just say danger's my middle name.
Well, yeah.
Danger.
Still want to play the show the next day though.
I know.
Pronounced
Don't want to
danger.
wheel you out there.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like there's certain things that make me feel confident in the moment, and there's also elements of just being like, I want to make an impression. I want anyone who sees this show to like say to themselves, like either to themselves or to their friends, this was awesome. This was crazy.
Yeah.
I got to see these guys again, or like you got to see these guys. And it's not always about like how great we play the music, how great we sing the songs. It's just like
Something memorable.
something
Yeah.
like visually, it's a show.
Something that makes people want to whip out their phone and be like, oh, or it's be like, yo, you went to the bathroom, buddy, just climbed the thing. But I'll tell you this. You know who doesn't like your stage antics? The sound and lighting crew. There was that one guy. I remember you
Some
were
heart
up,
attacks.
You were up on the thing, and he gave you a little slap.
Well, like this thing, I don't blame him. I don't
Grabbing
blame
your
him.
ankles.
He's like, what are you doing here?
I don't blame him. There was that was where was that? Was that Covina?
I don't remember.
I think it was
It was one of the cities,
Yeah,
but
it was
anyways,
it's good.
yeah,
So-
I was trying to hold the thing down.
I said,
I'm like, I got
It was
you.
West Covina,
Justin,
right?
no,
Covina.
not West. It was Covina. It was. I was lightly influenced by Justin too. There was a rickety.
It was rickety.
It was rickety.
Oh yeah, it was rickety.
And it was like and it was like that, like the scaffold. What do you call those things? I don't know.
Truss?
The trusses.
Yeah.
And then I was like. I think like it wasn't bolted down, but it was holding lights. And it's
I
kinda
saw
rickety.
that thing.
And there was like a sandbag or a bean bag on it. I don't know what is going on. And I looked at Justin, I'm like, Justin, man, this is a little rickety. Should I give this a shot?
Yeah.
Can you hold it? And Justin's like, yeah, man, go for it.
I said it like that,
I
and I
got-
was just like, I don't know how this is gonna go,
Yeah.
but I
have
had to say
faith.
it with confidence.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then I went
You
and I
started
had
climbing.
Justin initially like lying down playing the bass.
Yeah.
And I jumped over Justin into
Yeah.
the crowd or whatever. That was part one, and then the second one, I was like, now I was on a high. I was skating around, and people were like cheering and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's up this again.
Let's climb.
And then I started trying to climb it. I couldn't get a good grip on it.
I remember.
And then the thing was like rocking, and Justin was holding on to it, and then all of a sudden the guy like ran from his like post
Yeah.
and ran to the right, started
Slapping
hitting my
and grabbing.
leg.
He's like, what are you
I was
doing?
like, all right.
But you know what? I find when you do those in the moment, it's like it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
But B, you only have a small window to do it because if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not happening, the crew is coming in there
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're shutting that down. I even remember the last one we did West Covina, the Mega Moon Festival, and you tried to do it. You got up there, but you couldn't do the flagpole because your hands were too far apart.
They're too close.
Or too close.
Yeah.
But I remember even at the break, they're just like, yo, you guys are great. You're great. Tell your singer he can't do that, though. I'm like, I'll relay the message.
It's a liability.
Yeah.
I didn't relay the message.
And then, there was an organizer that saw me do it on like online or something, and then we went to go play their festival, and they said, there's a little bit of a liability thing. You might have to just lay off that.
getting
kind of thing.
wise.
They're getting wise.
What if we bring our own truss? And we just do it on our own.
Why
We got
don't I grab
a
a stripper pole and just put it in the middle of the thing and start doing a routine?
We might have to. So that move loved by the crowd, hated by lighting techs all across Southern California. But yeah, Richie, that's been great.
It's
You've
been
doing
fun.
some
We've
great
all
moves.
been like stepping it up, even
Oh, yeah.
getting ambitious on the drums. Justin's got his things that he's like, they're just cracking me up and
Yeah.
like and getting crazy with it.
What do we have new? What's going on in your world? You guys always like evolve some moves. Is there anything new that jumps out at you guys that you've been doing that's hilarious?
We've been doing the thing for Andy's song. We're doing like it's just
the
cabaret.
hilarious. The
Yeah.
cabaret. I've been trying to get into the pistol squat with the
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah, you've been doing your pistol squat.
Yeah, just the
A
one
workout routine in the
Yeah, I
middle
get
of
a
the set.
little thing I've been doing.
Richie, how tight are those pants? Can we get a pistol squat right now in the middle of the episode?
middle episode.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Is
here we
that
go.
possible?
Let me see.
Can we see? It's tough. Those tight pants.
I can't do it now.
I want to see if I can do. I haven't done a pistol squat. Just, can you do pistol squat?
That's a no, Johnny.
Squat test? I don't know if I can do this. It might be an epic fail, and we're just gonna.
Give it a shot.
I haven't done it in a while. I just did legs today.
Oh, damn! You're
You hear
smoother
my
than
knee?
me.
You hear my knee snap?
You need a guitar in your hand. You got to go to the edge of the stage.
Surprised they did that though. It's
That was pretty good.
It's been a while.
But in the end, I wound up right back where I started. I could still pick winners, and I could still make money for all kinds of people back home. And why mess up a good thing? And that's that.
Merch. Most people would be excited when they hear that word. But the Dreamboats, we've been slacking on merch.
Never.
We played all these city shows this summer, and we had no merch available to the point that fans were making their own bootleg Dreamboats t-shirts and showing up to the gigs. Justin, we've never been in bands. It's always been difficult for us to do merch. Justin, maybe you've been in successful bands with successful merch. What are the pros and cons of having a merch table? Can you enlighten us?
I mean, there's many, obviously. There's right away.
Money is being
money.
Aside from
Money is
money.
awesome. Everybody loves money. It's also a place where I found like in older bands that I played in, at least one of the members or multiple members were always hanging out at the merch table. So like during the show, although this band, we don't usually have openers or headliners, it's kind of just us all the time. But there is some downtime and there's time between sets where it's a good chance for us to go hang out at the merch table and meet people as well, throughout the night, because at the end of the night, a lot of people take off pretty quickly. So
And we get swarmed. I think having a merch table is just a good way to kind of direct everyone to one area after the show. And it's just like giving some people a little keepsake to take home, a memory from the show.
yeah, for sure.
We've always been slacking, but I guess
well, we're working on it.
We're taking applications actually for a merch person.
We are. We should do a little shout out right now. That's a great idea. If you are under the age of 35, you can haul gear. You know how to work a merch table. You're into setting up. You're into just hanging out with the Dreamboats and really putting in some time and helping us grow in the merch department. Please reach out to us. Apply within. And you got to live in California, and you got to have a vehicle. And
you got to know how to hustle.
you gotta be willing to work for peanuts. And
Are you saying all the small print right now?
yeah, we gotta speed this all up.
Side effects may include.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, side effects may include a loss of will to be in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Guaranteed.
But yeah, so we do have merch on the way, though. We have a lot of new merch. First thing was, if you tuned into the last episode, we got the Dreamboats varsity jackets, Richie. We finally made them available to the public. Sales have been going well. I know you've got some.
We got a few jackets left, but yeah, they've been doing really well. Yeah.
Canada and the U.S. We've been selling these jackets. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm going to give the whole thing away. We have new pictures to sign. We have buttons. We're bringing the buttons back. We're bringing the stickers back. We got Dreamboats pennants coming out, like pennants for like baseball teams. We got those coming out. The jackets, got t-shirts. Oh, we got to work on that. We are working on the Dreamboats patent pending Richie Hummons sweat rag.
No, it's not my sweat. It's approved.
Richie Hummons approved sweat rag.
We're
We're working on that, but we're going to have a lot of merch coming out. Richie, tell me, there was a bit of a glory day of the Dreamboats merch. Justin, I know you had seen us at different venues back in the day. I know the Horseshoe, but we did have a merch table once upon a time. But I will say, the best era of Dreamboats merch, you have to visualize this. We had a table.
Oh, yeah.
We had candy. We had free buttons. We had buttons of all four of us. We had t-shirts. We had vinyl albums. We had CDs. We had signed pictures. But
my favorite.
Our favorite. We actually went out to Toys R Us, okay?
Oh my
god. And we bought grown men.
Grown men.
We bought two, not even one, two race cars.
the race car.
You know the race car things?
Like dinky cars?
No,
yeah,
like
little
you
slot car, whatever it's called.
Like
with
electric?
the fat batteries. Bought two of those, and before the show, we built tracks around the merch table, and people would come to the table and they would race, and cars were flying all over the place. I don't know if anyone bought any merch.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
They came there for the candies and to challenge me.
Yeah, I think they took all the free stuff and
So you guys
moved
got
along.
playing with
Bounce.
cars, eating your candy,
Yeah.
and then just the merch is just sitting there.
That's
Can't do anything normal,
that's
right?
Exactly.
So you could say that the Dreamboats
exactly
are
it.
not the most business savvy in the merchandise department, but we're changing all that. We got a tablecloth now for the merch table. We got some lights.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
so-
got some lights. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that rickety little table.
Little
anymore.
lamp.
And so merch is on the way.
I'm sure it was a very beautiful scene between you.
Don't patronize
I have
me.
questions for you. Do they have a sheet on you where you're from?
Yeah.
Well, that's that then, man.
Richie, how many gigs did we play this summer? Like
37.
There's a lot of gigs we played.
no, but it was like over 20.
well, it was
Between private, between public, out of state.
and bleeding into the fall and early 2025 is going to be pretty good too. Yeah.
Place your bets. How many did we play? I said 37. Go.
22.
Go.
I'd say 30. I'll be
All
in
right,
the
we're gonna
middle.
put that number up right here, or not. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll check. But it was. I was saying to Johnny earlier, just talking about it. This year has been like the year of the showcase.
Yes.
When we first came here, there's just such a difference. Like elaborating on what I was saying earlier, like really trying to hustle and all us filling the calendars and reaching out to people to try booking us and stuff like that. And there's a different perception when you're kind of representing yourself as opposed to like having someone who is, in the game, has skin in the game as a booker representing you. And we did what resulted from our I guess a conference in the beginning of January that we did in Whittier. We did one last year in January. And that I think we got about 5 gigs from like that, like city conference gig at the city conference where we set up a booth, 2 of us, and there's like maybe like 100 bands in this like conference center, and like all the city buyers walk through like a gauntlet and take all the information of all these bands, and then they pick who they want to play for their city festivals. Last year, I think we got about like maybe 5 gigs.
Yeah.
This year, I think we got maybe like 15 or 17 like gigs.
Yeah,
from
we
that.
were there. We were
Like, yeah.
the booth was bumping.
Oh, the
You
booth
know,
was
we were
bumping.
kissing hands, shaking.
Oh, it
Babies
was
wearing the
nuts.
suit.
Yeah, it was.
Our
great.
table was bumping.
Yeah, our table was bumping, but
It translated.
and it translated because like they all talk, right? And shout out to Susie Perez for getting us and telling me about the first initial conference, and also spreading a good word about us that kind of resonated through the conference in January this year, which resulted in
All those summer gigs.
And then we also spent a little bit of money at the San Diego, the Western Arts Alliance.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jenny, who's now representing us in the theater realm.
I mean, that was an experience. I mean, we're not used to doing showcases, let alone, how do you condense the Dreamboat show into 10 minutes? It's tough. It's like we had to rehearse we had to condense all these songs into like 30 seconds, 1 minute, and just play. Like the Disney one, we also did a showcase for Disney. It was like, you're playing in a tiny little jam room at like, what time was that? We were up at like 9 a.m.
Not to mention we redecorated that thing. The moment when I got in there, I'm like, this all has to change.
Yeah.
This goes here, that goes there.
Good on you, man.
Justin taking the bull by the horns.
And then it's like, we're playing at 2 people kind of
right
sitting
there in front of all
and
this. I mean, Justin.
I thought about it too. I'm like, they're going to be standing to our side. I'm like, we need to be facing them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's going to be strange,
It
Yeah.
is. Good call on making that happen.
Yeah, and that was it. But just it was the year of the showcase for us because we never
Yeah.
had like many. Like we had the Ontario Contact Showcase,
And that went well.
that went well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, I always believe in our product when you can see it in front of us, and there's I like to think that there's an energy that we give off. There's a chemistry that we all have together.
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
people can
translate
go-
in the videos.
I
You
mean,
need
not,
to see
not
it.
as much, that's for sure. But yeah, it was the year of the showcase. How'd you feel about those? Do you feel like those are a little nerve wracking? I remember telling us that I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like you hold it together for us. In
I
a
don't
way.
feel like it's nerve wracking. I just feel like it's like
I feel it's nerve wracking.
really. Yeah, I feel like in those moments like that, it's like I come together even more. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is it. This is what our whole lives are about. This is what all the sacrifice, everything's for these
Yeah.
moments. So there's almost like a peace that comes over in those things because it's like you got to get through this and you got to do a great job.
Sure.
A lot is weighing on those moments.
And it's true. It's like I think sometimes like I put a lot of that pressure. It's just different. But I definitely felt like you as my comrade to the left side of me, it helps pull that all together with. And then we have like Andy, like just doing his thing. Johnny, you're so good at like addressing like the crowd and the people. It's
How
just
to read a
everyone's
room.
everyone's just got like their
Strengths.
their strengths,
Yeah.
and together we're in that element, and it was just awesome having the opportunities to go and like have these people see us with our best foot forward, and now they are now pushing for us,
and it all
doing
paid
that.
off. We already got gigs
Playing New
from
Year's
all-
Eve at Disney.
Disney.
We're playing New Year's Eve, or possibly as soon as we're finished that, we're going to go play another city gig, possibly. So there's a lot going
Nevada
on.
coming up.
playing Nevada. That came about.
So we invested money into the Western Arts Alliance showcase. I'm not going to say how much it was. It wasn't
$1 million.
cheap. $1 million. And we got a gig right off the bat that pretty much tripled what we paid.
Yeah.
Thing right off the bat, and that hasn't even started because those gigs that are being that we showcased to those those bookers, that's for like mid 2025
Sure.
bookings and whatnot. So this is all planting seeds.
Planting seeds. That's
and
all we're doing
and
down
making
here.
it happen. Yeah, and we got like 5 gigs from Disney too. It's been paying off. Yeah.
I want to call somebody out here.
Okay.
On the camera. I
Let's
want to
do
get
it.
our man Andy. We need to get you in this room for one of these podcasts.
Andy Zappa?
Are you in there, man?
Andy, for those of you who don't
Papucho.
know, he is one of our main guitar player these days, and he is the only guy not from Mississauga, Toronto, Canada, and he lives in LA.
We're gonna get him to, but he's as nice as a Canadian though. He's practically Canadian.
Andy's been one of the closest friends. We hit it off.
I love Andy so
quick.
much.
I
man.
remember the first time we met Andy. He came to the old house. I remember he showed up. He was wearing the Canadian tuxedo, the jean on jean, cut sleeves. I'm like, who's this guy? And he walked in, and I remember we started jamming with him, and then he sang a song, and he just sang in falsetto. You remember that? Eric was in his room, and we were all just there, and he just gave it. I don't know, and we're just like, oh damn, like, okay, this guy's cool. He's about that live.
Yeah.
And it was great. I love having Andy.
He's authentic. He's
Yeah.
such a great like person in general. Like just like
Yeah.
he's so. I don't know. There's
And
something
he's an
about Andy.
amazing performer
He's
on all
so-
levels. And, and I think we need to get Andy on this show
We
in
will.
one of the next episodes.
We
so
will.
Yeah.
We got to
Andy.
get him on.
not that he's watching this, but we'll send him this little clip, Andy. All
Yeah,
right,
we'll
Andy?
chop it out and call him out. But also, of course, huge shout outs to the other guitar players we played.
Absolutely.
Riley, we have Riley on bass who's played with us forever. Riley, we love you. We have Ben on guitar.
Ben, I
we play
was
with
gonna
Ben
say.
quite often.
Yeah.
Ben, solid guitar player, LA bass guitar player now. Such a pleasure. He's hilarious. I love playing with Ben. And then we've got Kyle
the
O'Donnell.
best
Always a
horn
good
player
time.
in the world.
Kyle has
Dog.
been
Kyle's
That's
my
not-
boy.
That's
been great.
and that's an understatement.
Kyle is so great. It's always a pleasure. So shout out to the new California players and close friends that we've made. Good call. But we got to get them all on this show.
Absolutely. One at a time.
That'd be a great idea. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here.
wrap it.
Cool.
Everyone, this is thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next time. And
That's
that.
And that's that.